introduce Google Sites, and there's actually two versions of Google Sites, so little caution when getting started. If you simply type in Google Sites, you will be more than likely be directed to the old version of Google Sites, which you can absolutely create a pretty simple website using it. My concern is it's not quite as easy when hosting a YouTube video or a Google Sites video. They've definitely made it easier on the way I'm about to show you. So if you start off with the Google page and logged into Google using your school ID, in this case I can see that I have asiggins@wyoarea.org logged in. I typically use Safari for this. And then I log in using my Chrome to my own personal because I manage two different Google accounts. So if you want to check out what your end result is, try and open it in a different web browser. And as long as you're not logged into that web browser, you can see permissions and privacy that may cause your links or your videos or your site not to appear right in the end result. But to get started here, you need to get logged into Google. If you're not, do that in the upper right-hand corner. And then you should have 9 tiles in the upper right-hand corner. These are the applications available to you through your Google authentication. Because I'm encouraging you to use the school's authentication, there's a Google Sites available right here. This is the old version. I'm going to show you how I'm going to encourage you to do this is through your Google Drive. So do not click this site. Come up to your Google Drive. Once inside your Google Drive, you can create a new site. I also have a couple that have already gotten underway. I can show you quickly. The Google Sites is pretty simple, very much like a Word or page layout program. It's pretty simple stuff, and the ability to publish is a lot easier in this new version. So I'll go through and I'll show you some of the details in a moment. Here's one that I created real quickly, and then also one that managed with Mr. Miller here. Have the ability to put a logo in the upper left-hand corner, title your pages, have a whole bunch of sub-pages and drop-downs across the top. In the background here, we have a Cinemagraph, which is basically a GIF image, GIF image, GIF, where you have motion in what is essentially just a photograph, or there's going to be treated like a photograph on a web page. So a Cinemagraph is a dynamic background you could create. And then again, you can host whatever your content currently is. Our goal for our Google site is a digital portfolio. So if I go back to my drive, I can come in here and I can, number one, see all the other documents I've used in Google. But to create a new one, you'll click the plus arrow with new identified in the upper left. And this is not the top option. This is not what Google is, most known for. So in this case, Google Sites is like the very last option, the 7th option, I believe. And when you click it, a few things you need to know. What you're seeing on your screen immediately is that, okay, here's the default page to get building off of. And in the upper left-hand corner next to this, 3 rectangular boxes on top of a blue background, the title here is the title you'll end up with in your Google Drive. That's what you'll find later. So maybe you want to title this Portfolio. I happen to know I already have one titled My Portfolio, so however you want to identify it in your Google Drive, that's up to you. That's just the file name that you'll be seeing and what you'll see in the drive. As you work your way down and onto the page, this becomes more viewable. When I click this and it says Portfolio now because they just automatically match your file name in the upper left, you can either add logos, your logos or logos that are specific to you, so you could create a logo, or you can just use this as a place to put your name or identify what it is you're creating. So maybe you put your first and last name up here. It's going to be dependent upon what you decide to title your site. So you have your page title or info with regards to the page name, and then also you actually have to title what you're going to be looking at. So this main page title should speak to the fact that this is either multimedia, this is your digital portfolio, something along those lines. I'd probably put my name in the upper left. In either case, I should be able to identify whose this is and what they're trying to do, what is the purpose for the page. So you need to make sure you get some titles here. All right, some pretty simple stuff or neat things ways in which you can quickly manipulate the overall appearance of this page is to go through and manage the size of your header. So you could have a cover page, which is a very, very large image background, a large banner, slightly smaller banner, which is where I believe we started off, and then a title only, which is a very small, stripped down way in which to view your page. So you can go in here and you can take a look at your title options. I'm going to keep mine at a standard banner. And then you can also change your background images, which is right now I'm strongly urging you to do. When it comes to grading, it will become part of the rubric. So as far as authenticating your page, I don't need that to necessarily, I'm not necessarily looking at this for points, but this is a place where you can upload images that you've created or taken photos, or you can select a whole bunch of default background images Google has available, or that you can search through using some really cool or simple tabs across the top of this window. All right, so ways to go through formatting your page. Some additional quick information before I get into publishing your page. On the right-hand side, there's 3 separate tabs here. The first one is Insertion and Creation Tools, so adding content from all kinds of different places, including things you found in you currently have in your Google Drive, plus the ability to upload content. Again, a whole bunch of ways to get to different online resources from Google Drive, and often or many of your options down here, like your docs, your slides, your sheets. These things would all be found in your Drive anyway, so you can often get to the same thing more than one way. First tab is Insert, then you go to Pages. If you're going to navigate or create separate subpages, so maybe this is truly just your portfolio, digital portfolio. Maybe you want to add content for other courses. So maybe you just have a home page that's kind of an introduction to you, and you could add subpages that, like, maybe you have a multimedia page. Maybe you'll have a sample of your English documents or a writing documents. Maybe you'll have some other areas that you're involved, activities, sports. Maybe you want to create a separate page or subpage for each of those, which will by default jump in across the top banner here and allow you to navigate directly to those subpages. All right, so things that you can play around with. I don't need to get into too much detail. Tons of resources on YouTube as well. The last is Themes. If you want to change to a specific font or change the font appearance on your screen and even in your subcategories here, you need to select a specific style. In the case I just moved to Aristotle, it's going to have this underline. You can change the color of the underline. You can get really basically every web color is available to you. But then also there's 3 font styles to each of these themes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different themes. All, I believe, have 3 subtitles. So you can get a little bit of creativity. This is an online publishing tool, so it's not an infinite library of fonts. You need to know how to manage or find your way through those fonts, and that's currently under Themes. All right. So with that, I've currently created a file titled Portfolio. This is very generic. This doesn't have any great details to it. I want to hop up here to the top of the page. Preview is probably the most valuable aspect of this new Google tool. All of your websites will be formatted for multiple platforms, and so you can go from what it would look like on a cell phone, to what it would look like on a tablet, maybe an iPad in class, and then also on a larger screen in the case of our computers. So by having this document format itself based on how it's being viewed, they've taken a lot of what were earlier challenges in the case of web design, and they really simplified this for you. All right, I'm going to exit this view. So check out your preview. Make sure things are looking the way you want them to. Your text doesn't jump all over the page and not align with the video it's supposed to. You want things to make sure that they work in all platforms. And then the last thing, in order for this to go live, in order for you to share this with anyone else, you need to go under Publish. So with Publish clicked, it gives you the ability to title your document. It may not allow you to have it if it's too short or too basic. For instance, just your initials may not work. But you can see here then the URL that you are about to create. In our case, google.com/yoarea.org/portfolio. I'm not sure if yours says students.yoarea. It may. /portfolio because that was the title of my document. At this point, I might want to change it. Maybe it would be Mr. Siggins or something specific to your name, but you can attempt to give this a more detailed name. I'd encourage you to do that so it's relevant. You do not need to purchase your domain name, so it's not Siggins.com. This is just something that's hosted through Google. And then you can also control who can see your site. For now, anyone at Wyomissing Area School District is what I'm going to encourage you to leave on there. If you go to some other options, you can change how you want certain things viewed, or you can extend the visibility to people outside. Anyone can find and view the published version. So whatever you publish, someone could search online. If they had the link, they could access it. All right. Currently, it's restricted to our domain. So just so you're aware of how that some of the options that are out there, if you need to share this with a future employer, you'll need to change that setting so that way they can see it from a non-school computer or non-school domain. All right. I don't believe we need to share this with collaborators. You're working by yourself. This is a personal document. So in this case, I'm going to click Done. So portfolio, let's see if it takes just this generic portfolio title. Well, it looks like that worked. No one else had just selected portfolio or a generic portfolio title. Now, if I were to make any changes to my page, I change the the page theme, or I change my background image, it is not live on the web on your published site unless you click Publish again. So if I were to check right now, view the published site, I can currently see, or I should be able to see, that I have this box around my text. So real quick example, coming back in here, if I decide to change this theme to Aristotle and go back and try to view the published link, it's still the same. So I did make a change, but it did not go to the live version. You need to click Publish anytime a change is made. All right, I think I included enough content as far as how to create or where to create your Google site. This used to be called the beta version. I'm going to say it's the Google Drive version of the Google Sites. So make sure you create a Google site, get it published, and then that's the link that I am looking for to make sure that you've established the proper, you shared it properly. Once that is created and I now update it, I can go to View to Publish Site. If I click on the link at the top here, I can copy and paste and share this, and you can see that it says portfolio as I titled it earlier. It also added /home because this is the main page. But basically, if I were to copy and paste this, I can share this with anyone and they can come and see my current page. Very boring right now, but again, that's the gist. I'll go over some video publishing details in a moment.